Ironically, today I don't have my No Radiations logo on my Gotham Watch Club shirt. Usually I have that shirt on when I'm making these videos. It's in the wash right now, so I will have that for the next video. However, today it's a very appropriate time to wear that shirt because I am reviewing really one watch, and one of my watches will be included in this video. I have two Blancpain to show you guys. I have the reissue my 50 Fathoms Aqualung. And I'm going to be showing you both of these watches through the video, but really I'm talking about that reissue throughout this video. It was lent into the channel by my friend Jonathan. Let's flip the camera and take a look at two iconic watches from Blancpain, both of them 50 Fathoms, one new and one classic. Let's take a look. Well, here we are. We have two legends in my hand. This is my 50 Fathoms, my Aqualung, and this is the limited edition Hodinkee reissue of the 50 Fathoms with that functioning water moisture indicator on the dial. This was a big deal when they released this watch, and it wasn't that long ago. It was just a few years ago. And I was very excited about it because they haven't done anything like this in a long time. And when I say like this, I mean in a really good size at 40 millimeters. I think there's obviously some things that they could change on this watch, but they got a lot of the details right. Now, this watch is lent into the channel by my friend Jonathan. If you are not familiar with Jonathan, he was on the Minuteman channel where he did a collection video. It was actually, I think, 2 collection videos before mine because I was also on that channel. So both of these watches have been featured on Derek's channel, Minuteman. So definitely check out those videos. I will put a link to his video down in the description when you're done watching his. Check out mine if you have not. Both of them are really great videos. His channel is awesome, and so is Jonathan. Jonathan very graciously lent me this watch for a very long time. Been in my possession for a while, and I've always wanted to feature one here on my channel. Now you can see the one in my right hand is my 1957 or thereabout Aqualung. There are some major differences between these two watches. So, I have said this many times, I wish that Blancpain would reissue something very close to what is in my right hand, to this Aqualung. In fact, I would love it if they re-released this watch 1-to-1. Of course, minus the radium. But the way that this watch looks is phenomenal. And they got very close with this Hodinkee limited edition. The Hodinkee limited edition is limited to 250 pieces. It's sold out, and these watches are selling for over list price now. You're getting a functioning moisture indicator on the dial, a matte black dial, which I think looks really good, and then it is a no date. These are all little details that they have not really gotten right in the past. Also, the size of the case makes a lot of sense. This is a 40 millimeter dive watch with an around 12.9 millimeter thickness. You're getting 300 meters of water resistance and a boxed sapphire crystal and a domed sapphire crystal on the bezel. It's a 120 click bezel that is lumed, and then you have a lug to lug of almost around 46 millimeters is what I measured, and it makes a lot of sense when you throw it on wrist. It actually wears like a vintage 50 Fathoms. The 50 Fathoms was already a large watch when it came out. Mine is 41 millimeters. From 1957, a 41 millimeter watch was pretty much unheard of. That was a jumbo size at that time. So I'm glad that Hodinkee decided to go this route, and of course they made Blancpain go this route with no date. And one other big difference. When you look at the case, there are a few elements that I really love. There's 1 or 2 elements that I could do without. Number 1, those crown guards. I know it makes sense now, but if you're doing a reissue in the future, maybe don't do the crown guards, because this is technically the modern 50 Fathoms. This is not a reissue of the original. It is a modern 50 Fathoms that is meant to look like a vintage 50 Fathoms. It is inspired by the Aqualung or the 50 Fathoms from the 1950s, but this case is their modern 50 Fathoms case. But one thing that I love about this case is that they did not put the word Blancpain on the side of the case. I am very happy that they did that. And also, you could see it is completely brushed. This is a tool watch, and I like that they went completely brushed with this watch. Now, if you look at my watch right here, there is polishing on here and there is brushing. I mean, it's mostly just polishing. Now, that's what they used to do back in the day with these watches. These were all polished. But nowadays, the polish is a little bit brighter, a little bit better. I would rather them just do a completely brushed case. And that's what they have done here. And I hope in the future, Blancpain comes out with this watch in this case with these long straight lugs and do it in 41 millimeters, and of course a sapphire bezel, a sapphire crystal, very similar crystals on here. Obviously one is a plastic crystal, this is a plastic crystal, and this is a sapphire crystal. It just looks good. I think that these watches very much have a similar DNA, but when you look at it on its side, this is way more slab-sided. This is a little bit more voluptuous. I think that they need to go this route again in the future. They should still make this watch, but they should also come out with a reissue of this watch and other watches like this vintage 50 Fathoms. That's my opinion, but I think it's a good idea. You also get a very similar handset. Obviously, these are a little bit bigger because they are modern, so they went a little bit larger for legibility. You have large indices that are printed onto the dial here, and they are filled with lume as well. We will do a lume shot towards the end of the video. The case back on this watch is beautiful. You have a screwed-in case back. Again, you're getting that 300 meters of water resistance, and you get a sapphire crystal. The sapphire crystal behind there, you could see the movement. The movement on this watch is the 1150. Now, this is something that Blancpain get right. This gets 100 hours of power reserve. They put a very high-end movement in these watches. They are beautifully finished, and it makes a lot of sense because this is a pretty expensive watch. At retail, this was $14,400. However, these are a little bit more than that now if you want to buy them because they have sold out, like I said. So you do have to buy this watch on the secondary market, and it is getting a premium because this is an awesome, awesome watch. Of course, you're getting super luminova on this watch, not radium. So obviously, this is something that you can wear on a daily basis. This is an everyday, good-looking diver. And if they came out with this watch on a very straightforward 3-link bracelet, it would take on Rolex and the Submariner any day of the week. And if they came out with this in a reissue and they put it on a flat link 3-link bracelet, people would be falling over themselves to buy a reissue of this watch. I know I would purchase it because it's the watch that I am literally waiting for. Make it a modern watch, and of course put super luminova rather than radium. Obviously no radium is being used these days, so put super luminova, put a lot of it, and make it look like this watch. See if they could even put the name Aqualung on the dial, and then they got to come out with a no radiations version and a straight mil-spec version as well. I think that would be incredible, and I think there is money being left on the table by Blancpain right now because they could be making a lot of money with a reissue of this watch. And there is the Hodinkee reissue or limited edition, whatever you want to call it, on my 7.5 inch wrist. And you could see this wears like a 40 millimeter watch. It is a 40 millimeter watch at that bezel. It's slightly smaller at the case, and then you have an around 13 millimeter thickness. So it's just under 13 millimeters. That's including the sapphire crystal and around a 46 millimeter lug to lug. And just for comparison, here is my Aqualung on my 7.5 inch wrist. the exact same thickness. So this is 12.9 millimeters thick, including that boxed acrylic crystal or plastic crystal, whatever they used back then. And then you have a lug to lug of around 50 millimeters. So it is a longer lug to lug, so it does wear larger on wrist. This wears larger than the reissue or the new version, the Hodinkee version. Also, this is slightly larger. It's 40.9 millimeters according to my calipers, and the case is 40.9 millimeters, so it's in line. So it makes a lot of sense. It does wear bigger. Well, you can't see it, but my 50 Fathoms is right here, my Aqualung, and here is the Hodinkee version right here. You can't see it because the radium here is obviously not that bright. It is glowing. I could see that it's glowing a little bit, but it's always glowing. You can't charge it because it just always glows. It's radioactive. It literally is radioactive right now. The modern Hodinkee version is very bright. Obviously, you're getting a lot of lume in that bezel, on that dial, and the hands, and you have a little bit of lume in the second hand. You could see that it's working in the dark. Everything there is beautifully lumed. I think they did a great job with the lume. It's very important. It's a dive watch. It's a tool watch. That it has a lot of lume makes a lot of sense. Also, you do get 120 click bezel on this watch. It is a little bit difficult to use, and it is unidirectional, but the only reason why it's difficult to use is because the bezel is a little bit of a coin edge on it, but they didn't put any knurling on the outside of it, so it doesn't really have that much grip to it. But other than that, I really don't have any complaints about, obviously, either of the watches, but I don't have any complaints about the Hodinkee edition. I think they did a great job, and I hope that they keep doing more watches like this, and they have. They have done more watches like this Hodinkee edition. That's in the modern case. Like I've said, I want a straight reissue of the vintage case. Other brands have done it. One of their sister brands, Omega, have done this many times. They come out with modern Omega Seamasters, but they've also come out with the 1957 version of their Seamaster, and it is identical. If you had a vintage version right next to the modern version, the only way that you would be able to tell the difference is by the crystal. And obviously it would look brand new because it is a brand new watch. That's the only way you can tell the difference. Otherwise, it's a 1-for-1. That's what I think Blancpain need to do. And they also need to come up with a bracelet solution on both of these watches, the modern version and the vintage version, if they ever come out with a reissue, in my opinion. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I know I've said a lot in this video. Some awesome watches, some legendary watches here on the table today. Some very expensive watches as well. Very cool, and I am so happy that I got to make this video. Jonathan, again, thank you to Jonathan. I will put a link to his video down in the description. Definitely check it out. Definitely check out my video that I did with Derek over on the Minuteman channel as well, where I talk a little bit about this watch as well, so definitely check that out. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. I will catch you guys in the next video.